Joining me today is a content queen and founder of the Menstrual Cup brand, which is literally changing the game. Eleria is a menstrual cup that is sustainable, affordable, and accessible. It is potentially the period product that so many women are terrified of using, but once they do, realise it can change their life forever. Please welcome Goode. Thank you so much for coming on. It's so lovely to have you here, Kira. You are, I think, I'm right in saying, probably one of the first guests that we've had that has had such a kind of transformative product when it comes to women's health. So I'm really excited that we've got you on because it's all around periods, but it's from a different angle of you've created this amazing product that I've actually had a chance to use and I absolutely love it. So let's start with a bit of your background and who you are. Tell us a bit about you and what makes Kira, as well as all the entrepreneurial stuff that we're going to delve into.
Where to start? Yeah, I suppose I've always been quite entrepreneurial, I think. So, I think I always knew that I was probably going to do some level of business something, but I never knew what it was.
Okay.
So obviously, this is what I've fallen into.
Yeah.
But I always loved, a bit of Dragon's Den, a bit of The Apprentice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's always been my thing. I think it was just a very interesting, all over the place journey to get there. I've probably done a lot of really random different things that are very not connected.
Yeah.
But I think that's been a really fun journey to getting where we are now.
All those different connected things, were they entrepreneurial, almost like side hustle things, or also jobs, or was it kind of a mixture?
Yeah, I think I've always done silly little side hustles. I think when I was in year 6, our school did this entrepreneurial project thing, and I remember making cakes in my mum's kitchen, and she would take them into work and sell them in the staff room for 20p a cake.
That's
and it was a challenge. So even all the way back then I was doing stuff like that. But I think all throughout uni, the type of course that I studied, the all the extracurricular things that I did has probably shaped my general mentality.
What did you do at uni?
I studied electrical and electronic engineering with innovation.
Oh my god.
Which is a mouthful.
That's impressive.
But it's a really unique course.
Yeah.
And I suppose we'll probably get onto is where sort of Eleria came from, is through that course.
Oh, okay.
Which is quite shocking because you probably don't hit engineering and think periods.
Well, my dad's an engineer, so I think about engineering and I think about civil engineering and buildings and design.
And middle-aged men.
And middle-aged men, yeah, definitely. So as much as I love him, definitely middle-aged men. Okay, I love that. That's amazing. Where did you do that course, if it was quite unique?
At Bristol.
Oh, okay.
So they do a range of innovation courses, and basically you study a discipline with innovation. And then, so the whole point is it's quite multidisciplinary. So you're teaming up with people doing different disciplines, or with very different mentalities and very different backgrounds.
Okay.
Which I think is then really useful in having different ideas and opinions when creating something. It's quite entrepreneurial focused. It's very much find a problem in the world and fix it, which is basically how Eleria started.
I was going to say, it's literally what you do today,
yes.
Right?
Yeah, very
Amazing.
much.
Now, at university, this course, we talk about obviously the fact that engineering, we tend to think it's a discipline that attracts a lot of men, which makes a huge amount of sense, but it does also attract a lot of women, but just not as many. Were you the minority on your course in terms of women, or?
Yeah, I think, my specific course, so engineering with innovation, it was just me. I was the only person in my year to do that course.
Wow.
It started off as 4, there were 3 boys and me, and then they all decided that innovation was a bit too not technical enough, basically, so dropped down to just doing the straight engineering course. So by the end, it was just me.
You were the only person on the course?
Because it's a unique course, it's you spend 80% of your time studying the just blanket engineering course.
Okay.
And then 20% in this special innovation side.
Okay.
So it's very different. So my engineering, we call it Triple E, it's short for electrical electronic, was very male dominated. I think I was maybe 1 in 7 women in the course out of about 65.
Okay, yeah.
So not great.
Probably represents the industry quite a lot, doesn't it? Quite representative.
Yeah.
Did you get any, maybe not, on my course, very different, but I did film production at university, and it was a very male heavy course. Probably, really interesting, definitely, and apparently that's quite traditional, attracts a lot of men, and I'd say probably maybe more of a 25% women, 75% men. But it was very, very male dominated, and it was very kind of clear it attracted that audience. I think the technical element of it, working the cameras and doing the sound and, you know, all the practical stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the women, I think we've kind of fell into like a bit of editing, a kind of the producing element, which is what I did, which is basically bossing people around and paperwork, which is pretty much what I've spent my career doing. But did you have many like comments or kind of questions of like, oh, like, why are you doing engineering or anything like that?
I think I've been really quite fortunate in my experience being in quite a male dominated education system, because obviously I've not gone into engineering post university. But I think I am I have quite a like stereotypical male personality type. I'm quite loud, I'm
Okay.
quite forward.
Yeah.
I will just say it how it is, sometimes to my own detriment. And so I think the vibe that I sort of give off is like, I'm not going to take crap from anyone.
Yes.
And I think when you, to some extent, when you give off that vibe, people just like ignore you. And so I never really had anyone making any particular comments or say anything weird. So I was actually quite lucky in that sense. I did get comments that were like, oh, but you're studying the innovation course, so it doesn't really count.
Oh,
it's like,
please.
fine, but I've still got a master's in engineering the same as you, so.
Yeah, I don't think it makes a blind bit of difference, but yeah, okay, I can imagine some can't help that. Okay, so university, incredible course, really interesting with like in the innovation element of it. What happens after university for you?
I suppose for a bit of context, in my final year of university was like peak COVID year. So it was entirely lectures online, especially for innovation, where it's a very collaborative course. Doing that online was like not ideal in any way. But during that time, I had started making videos to post on TikTok and Instagram, etc.
Okay.
And it started gaining popularity. And I thought, kind of saw that and I was like, well, this is sort of like marketing. I think I want to go into that. So I completely pivoted from engineering and I was looking more at marketing side. So I went into quite a traditional marketing job straight out of uni. And after 18 months, I left that to pursue what is now content creation and my businesses.
Yeah.
So yes, Eleria was my final year project at university.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so the final year in innovation is they literally say to you, find a problem in the world and that matters to you and fix it. Find a way to fix it, do some research on it. So we had used my following that I'd gained throughout COVID and put out this massive piece of research for this product. So the product existed by the time I finished university.
Yeah.
And I was sort of doing my corporate job for the first 18 months while we were trying to get funding and traction to be able to get it to a point where I could then focus on it more full time. So I don't like to call it a side hustle because like I don't think it was. It was always like I am pursuing this to become what I hope to be a big successful business eventually.
Yeah, it was always like a core mission for you because it mattered really early on.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's go into the third year research project then. So the period cup, if that's an appropriate way to describe it, the period cup. Tell me why, well, maybe periods more broadly, and then we can go into the product itself, but tell me why it mattered to you then, why that is what you picked.
In my second year, so I did a 4-year degree, so it was actually my fourth year project. In my second year of university, I'd started hearing like murmurings about this product, like the period cup, and I was like, well, what is that? I was really intrigued. And I didn't have a lot of money at uni. I was very much on maximum maintenance loan, working a Saturday job as well. And so for me, the selling point of the cup was like, well, I was going to save so much money. Like all this money I'm spending on pads and tampons every month, I could just buy this one cup and be done with it for the next like 5 years. That sounds amazing. So I started using one. And I quite often describe it as like, it truly like changed my life. Like I never had like the most horrible periods, but like they weren't great. Like first couple of days I was kind of out of it, not great. That all sort of went away when I started using a cup. And so that was huge for me.
Wow.
And so by fourth year, I'd been using it for like 2 years and I was just like, why is no one else using this product? It's so good. Like my cramps have gone, my period's somehow shorter, I'm saving all of this money. Why is no one else using this?
Wow.
And so that was basically my like project that I put forward, was what we in the end titled Investigating the Uptake of the Menstrual Cup. I have that on a printed dissertation that I've like taken a photo with outside the university, as you do.
We have to mark those moments, don't you?
So yeah, that was the project that I put forward. And my co-founder for Eleria, Monica, was very interested in the sustainability aspect of it, and so said, hey, I'd like to join you on this project. And that's how it worked. You would pitch a project and then people would kind of be like, oh, I'd like to work on that with you, and you team up.
Okay.
So that's what we did. We did this research and we basically put out a survey onto TikTok and said, if you have periods, please answer some questions for us. And it was how old are you, what sort of job you were in, because it was really interesting in the end to see the trends of what style of work people were in, and then their attitudes and their openness towards using something like the menstrual cup. And the main question was obviously why. What is the main reason why you don't want to use a menstrual cup? And we actually left it open. We didn't probe any specific like tick box answers, I don't think, because we wanted to just see people's genuine like description.
Yeah.
And basically everyone said either they just generally didn't know enough about what it was or like why they should use it, or cleaning it in a public toilet.
Yes.
And sterilising it in shared living spaces. So obviously a lot of the people we spoke to were students. And I could relate to that. Like obviously doing engineering, I live with 7 boys. I used to boil my menstrual cup in a pan in our kitchen. And that's very much because I had the mentality of like, I don't care, you get over it.
Yeah, I totally respect that. Like, mate, you don't have to experience it every month, so you haven't got any complaining to do.
Yes, I was like, it's sterile. Like the whole point of this is sterilising. It's a sterile thing.
It's cleaning it.
Get over it.
I am fascinated by this research then, because that sounds so interesting. Obviously, I mean, I've obviously seen your socials, and obviously it's a few years ago, but like you say, it had grown during COVID, and all the content that you do is incredible. We haven't even touched on like arts and crafts or the journal club or anything, but your socials is insane, and the amount of content you put out is amazing, and it's like really beautiful content. So you clearly had a good audience to get this data from. I'm so interested to know, especially when you mentioned about workplaces or what kind of jobs they had. What were the key insights that you kind of took from the research?
Obviously, a large portion were students, because that was my audience, and those were the people that I was surrounding myself with, because that's who I was. But a really large portion of the people we spoke to, especially later on when we started exploring actually what is now the final project and researching that, a lot of the people we spoke to were people that worked in public sector jobs, public service, so NHS, fire service, police, those jobs where you are likely to be out busy on your feet for long periods of time. That does make using a product like menstrual cup, where even though you can go 12 hours without having to change it, that's not always the case for everyone. And also, there's a lot of people that are just out of their house for longer than 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
And so that was a real niche point that we found.
Okay.
Where people were most interested.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes a huge amount of sense, actually, because tampons and pads just don't go anywhere near that like length of time that you can leave them, can they? Well, not in a way that would feel clean, hygienic or comfortable, or you wouldn't feel very self-conscious about. So to backtrack maybe slightly, thinking about that point, what were you using yourself like before you found the cup? Because you mentioned it changed your life. Is that almost like the products you were using was maybe making those cramps or things like worse when you were using them?
So I don't know the science behind it. So I typically use tampons. I went through the very stereotypical, started off using pads, decided I hate wearing a pad, and so very quickly transitioned to using tampons. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
I had fairly heavy periods. So like day 1 and 2 for me, I'd be going through a tampon every maybe 3 hours.
Okay.
Which like when you're at school and college just sucked.
Yeah. Having to constantly ask the teacher, can I go to the toilet? Yeah.
So that change, so going from having to change my tampon every 3 hours to being able to leave a menstrual cup in for 12 hours without even having to think about it and change it, was just crazy. And I'd picked up swimming at university as well. So being able to swim, not really worry about the second you get out of the pool being like, oh, I must go and change my tampon now because it's full of chlorinated pool water. You don't have to worry about that. And then, the shorter periods, the cramps, that was just huge for me. I don't really know why that is. I think some people speculate that when you're using things like tampons, it's somewhat sort of a bit more of like a blocker for your cervix, and so your body's having to work a bit harder. But I don't know if that's true or if that's the case. That was just my experience with it.
Yeah, but anecdotally, it sounds like the difference when you started using the cup was like night and day.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think also like sleeping overnight. I think some people I've spoken to do like typically leave tampons in overnight, but that wasn't an option for me. I personally didn't feel like that was like a safe thing to do. I think hearing about toxic shock, I always thought like you couldn't leave a tampon in overnight.
I've never left it. Do you know what? That's a really good point. I've never left it in overnight because I don't know. I don't think I had a specific conversation with like Mum or anyone in particular. But yeah, I've always just had that theory of like, oh, tampons, nighttime, no, like don't do it.
I always thought that, but obviously I've spoken to a lot of people since about what they use and stuff like that. So, and a lot of people leave tampons in overnight, and I definitely didn't think that was something that you should do. But
I did not know that.
Who knows? So obviously I was wearing like some super pad that just felt like I was wearing a nappy overnight, and it was always uncomfortable and I hated it. So also to go from that to just putting a cup in, leaving it in overnight, because I was never going to be sleeping more than 12 hours really. Maybe I was, but depends. Then it was just completely different. I never had to have that experience where 5 days a month I was not sleeping very well because I felt like I was wearing a nappy and it was just kind of uncomfortable and disrupting my sleep. That was also just completely gone.
Yeah, it's all those things you don't think about, isn't it? Like, yeah, I remember like any pad. Like I had a few friends, I remember at school, who would say to me like, yeah, I can just wear like the panty liners and like I get away with it, it's fine. And I remember thinking like, I don't know how the hell you're doing that, because it literally would look like someone's been attacked if I did that. But they literally feel like wearing a nappy. And as a teenager as well, and you're so self-conscious, and when you're like wearing like little skirts for school or whatever, I was like, no, pads are not the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so this research project, you've put out the survey, got some amazing feedback by the sounds of it. So what are kind of the first steps for you and your co-founder? Because obviously you were coming from almost a product point of view of why aren't people using this? And you mentioned she was coming from a point of view of like sustainability and the environment. So what was kind of the steps for you guys in like the research product?
So we obviously had to follow traditional, like it was a dissertation. There were traditional research steps that you had to follow. And the next stage for us was to kind of ideate, almost come up with ideas for solutions for this thing. And I think one of the things we came up with was what is now the cleaning case, some version of that.
Okay.
We had a podcast, funnily enough.
Oh.
We actually recorded one podcast episode as a trial that we used in our research, just me and her, just in COVID over like Zoom, recording, talking about periods. It's probably still out there.
I was going to say, there's a copy hidden somewhere.
But clearly we never ran with that idea. And then just a general like education piece, almost like something that we ideally would like to put like in the curriculum to kind of have that education from a younger age. And then we re-recruited people from the survey. So at the end of the survey, we had an optional box that was basically like, if you would like to get involved further in this research as we continue it, please leave your information here. So we then reached back out to those people, and we got a couple in, and we did a variety of like focus groups basically. So we had like 20 people on Zoom chatting about these ideas that we had.
Okay.
And I think overwhelmingly the biggest response was towards the cleaning case, because all of the education stuff could always kind of be done alongside that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we've kind of done is we've gone, right, we have this product, but the education piece is very much still needed because you're not going to make this change to this product if you don't really know anything about it.
Yeah,
you're not even going to know that you're going to have the problem of cleaning it if you don't know how it works.
Yes.
In the first place.
Yeah.
So yeah. So we then just sort of ran with it. We got building. Monica kind of had a bit of experience with using Blender, which was like a 3D modeling program. So she tried to like design up this product.
Okay.
I 3D printed it on my dad's 3D printer at home. And then we did like a little video recording of like how it would work in principle. And then again, sent that out to another set of research people, got their opinions on it. And it was all just really great, really positive. So we applied for some grants, which has then allowed us to get someone professional to design it for us.
Always good when you can bring in the experts.
Yeah.
But it takes money, doesn't it? And that's not always easy to get your hands on.
No. So yeah, we got some really great grant funding to help us with that. And we have also since raised investment, which we can talk about that for hours. Investment as a female-founded, female-focused business was a journey.
Tell me about that. That is one of my top questions on my card. Tell me about getting investment for female-founded and focused brands.
So it was, I think maybe I'm a bit naive. I think maybe from my attitude that I've always put out, and I'm typically a very logical person. So I'm just like, this is a great problem. Why would anyone like think different of it? And I've kind of been like, you shouldn't find this a weird thing because it's a women's issue. It's an issue, whatever. And that's very much my mentality. But I do forget that there's a lot of people out there that don't think like that.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was real humbled in this process. I thought people would be like jumping at it. I think investors see like a large social media following and they get very excited. But ultimately, most investors, angel investors specifically, which is what we were going after, which is just individuals with a fairly nice amount of money that they're willing to invest in things, are typically older men.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
And although we didn't have too much of like actively being rude about the issue or like this is a women's issue, I don't concern myself, we didn't have too much of that. Ultimately, they don't relate.
No. And to be fair to them, they can't, can they?
Yeah. So you have to like understand that and allow that they can't relate. They're never going to be able to relate. And getting them to understand this problem and want to put their money into an issue that they really don't understand, no matter how much you explain it to them, I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
You're going to want to put your money in something that you do understand. And so I think there is a wider issue that we need more female investors.
Yes.
Yeah. And hopefully one day we'll get there. But it was really hard from that perspective. And I think sustainability as well, a lot of investment groups and stuff will talk about sustainability, but there is definitely a much smaller pool of people and pool of money that are interested in putting their money into sustainability, because the fact of the matter is they put their money into tech, into AI. They're probably going to get a larger return on investment. They are, because there is just more money in that as an industry. So you had to find the people that cared somewhat about your mission.
Yes.
Like, you'll still hope you will still get a return on your investment through this business. But yes, it might not be as large as a massive AI business because it's just different. But I hope you would feel better about what you're doing ethically.
Yeah, I think and like you say, because angel investors, it is like I haven't delved into the world of trying to get investment because it sounds like you say terrifying and very difficult. Maybe someday we'll need to, but the little I know, the big difference between when you look at like venture capitalists and angel investors is the amount of money, and obviously angel investors, like you say, tend to be those individuals that have done very well for themselves, or are very passionate about investing or kind of making their money that way. So yeah, it sounds like it's almost the personality and almost the background of them as a person is so relevant about whether you're going to connect on the same level or whether they're just going to be like, nah, I'm good, like sounds interesting but not really for me.
I couldn't even tell you the number of times I had someone say to me, this is amazing, loved your pitch, I think what you're doing is so fantastic, it's going to be so successful, it's just not for me.
Oh, you must have come to hate that phrase.
Because we had pitched so many times and we'd won a lot of grants and competitions that, not to like pat myself on the back, but I think our pitch was very well polished.
Pat yourself on the back, go for it.
I got very good at explaining this problem to an audience that I knew were not going to understand it.
Yes, you honed.
Yeah, a lot of anecdotes, I knew that they would relate more to my male flatmates watching me boil it in a pan on the hob than they would relate to my feelings of doing that. So that's how I would spin it. I would be like, clever. Imagine if you walked into your kitchen and someone was boiling menstrual cup, which I kind of hate that I had to do that, but I think you're always going to be more successful just adapting to your audience than trying to push something that they're never going to understand. So
and sometimes you have to play the game, right?
yeah,
Like in order to make the positive change that you're now making, you just short term sometimes have to play the game.
yeah, it had to be a way that they were going to somehow be able to relate to it. Otherwise, we were never going to get anywhere. And I think that that's okay to have to do that sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great idea. I love the idea, but I'm going to go invest in that AI company over there.
Yes.
Instead.
So it was a challenge, to put it very, very lightly. So what do you think it was almost the person for you? Obviously, angel investors are anonymous, we know that, but do you think it was the person for you that was kind of the breakthrough in terms of they could say that whole pitch about loving it and thinking you're fantastic, and they were also willing to put their money where their mouth was?
I think really interestingly, so we have about 5 or 6 angel investors as part of this round that we did.
Yeah.
Almost all of them were people that we had known already throughout the process of developing the business, doing grant funding. When you do a lot of grant funding stuff, and you typically do like accelerator programs and things like that where you get business mentorship, it ended up being those people that had been with us through the whole journey and had this better understanding of what it was, why we were doing it, and the mission behind it, that were then like more willing to invest.
Yeah.
We unfortunately did have to massively reduce the amount of money that we raised, because another big problem, which is quite niche, is that a lot of investors want to see traction of product before they invest. I can understand that from a risk point of view.
Yeah.
I've got no sales traction because the product right now doesn't exist. It's just a 3D model.
Yes. Yeah.
But then we were in this chicken and egg problem of like, well, I cannot get you a physical product without money. Hardware is really expensive. So we would sort of go round and round in that circle, and we had plans to do big marketing campaigns, pay myself a salary.
Yeah, that's a dream scenario, isn't it? If you actually get some money from your business.
Things like that we kind of all had to accept and not do, and basically raise the minimum amount of money required to get the product over the line, so that we can then have traction, and hopefully soon we'll have to go through the raise process again to then raise that money for the marketing campaign, for the staff.
Yeah.
And things like that. So it's split it up. It's also made it generally harder.
Yeah.
But yeah, got to do what you got to do.
Well, exactly. And it sounds like it's almost like a continuous process that you're on. Like you break it up into little bite-sized pieces, and you get the next piece, and you're like, okay, that's a win. But you've also got to think about
what's next?
Almost starting the whole cycle all over again just to get to the next part.
Yeah.
Living in agonising pain is one of the hardest parts of living with endometriosis. Every single morning, I would wake up with stabbing, twisting, throbbing pain all over my entire body. And the only way I could survive was by taking painkillers all day, every day. If you told me over 10 years ago that natural pain relief would work better than drugs, I'd have thought you were crazy. But then I found BU's pain relief patches. I've had the pleasure of working with the sibling co-founder, Hemang and crew, and I trust them. I trust them to do right by me. I trust them to do right by you. I trust them to do right by all of us. So, if your endometriosis pain is out of control, or your periods are ruining your social life, then use discount Alexandra 10 for 10% off BU's products. Yes, you did hear me correctly. That is 10% across all their products. Go and have a look. What's the harm? You can also head to the show's description notes for all the information and all the clickable links. So you mentioned that obviously this was all started at university in that 4th year. You did the 18-month placement marketing, the job in marketing. So from that point when you then left and kind of committed to this full time, how long has it been since that point?
I think I left my corporate job in January 2023.
Okay, it's like 2 years.
Does that make sense?
Is it coming up to 3 years maybe?
I don't know.
That's
where has time gone? Yeah, I graduated in 2021.
Yeah.
I did 18 months. So like September 2021 to January 2023. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I left my corporate job in January 2023.
Yeah.
And have basically been self-employed / running several businesses.
Yeah.
Since then. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I can only imagine how busy those past few years have been for you then.
Yes, very busy, doing lots of things at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I like doing that. I like having, I think if I had to focus all my energy onto one thing, I'd probably get quite bored quite quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to jump around, still do a bit of crafts, do my
Mm-hmm.
journaling stuff, and then also do Eleria
Mm.
works really well for my brain.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So let's talk about almost that ethos and the kind of values and background of Eleria. Love the name. It's a beautiful name. Would love to know where that came from. That's an amazing name. And also, I've read a little bit on your website, but it's very different talking to you. And what you mentioned about being at university, obviously yourself and your co-founder, there's the actual product and making it the best product you can be, and with the sustainability, they seem like kind of core pillars for you guys. But yeah, just talk me through Eleria and what it kind of means to you, really.
Yeah. So name is a funny story actually. It was originally called Cup Squared. So like a cup inside a cup, basically. You have like the menstrual cup inside the cleaning case, which is kind of a cup.
Okay, yeah.
And that was just us trying to come up with anything. I don't think that really resonated too well with people because we did like the little squared symbol.
Right.
And that's very mathematic and people didn't like that. So like, we need a new name real quick. And I kind of want it to mean nothing and also something at the same time.
Yes. Yeah.
So we were like Greek mythology. Yeah, that's what bros would do. um, so we were frantically searching the internet for like different Greek goddesses and things. Obviously Artemis is like one of the most famous Greek goddesses, but like to me that sounded really like a masculine name and I didn't love that.
I was about to say, is Artemis not a man?
Artemis is a woman.
Oh,
I think.
okay.
I mean, maybe fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure. So we were then just digging into that, and there was the word Eleutheria, which is like an epithet. I'm going to get all the pronunciation, everything here wrong, for Artemis. And it basically means like the personification of liberty. It was all just like very feminine, very kind of a very loose tie-in.
Yes.
We were like, great, Eleutheria, love it. That's way too long. Let's just cut out the middle letters, make it 5 letters of something you can say. Done.
I absolutely love that. That is fantastic.
And that's how we came up with the name. Plus a couple of quick checks that you could buy the domain.
Of course, yeah, no one's taken the social handles or has trademarked it or anything like that.
And that was it. So, yeah.
Amazing.
And then in terms of our, like, pillars, I suppose, for me, a real, like, important thing was that I fundamentally believe that the menstrual cup is a better period product, full stop.
Okay.
Not just a better for the environment period product. And I think a huge problem that is associated with the menstrual cup is it's always just pushed as this product is better for the environment. And what we learned through this research is that's all very well, but you fundamentally, anyone for any sustainable product ever, you're not going to be willing to give up your convenience for the environment. As sad as that is the reality.
Yeah.
You're not going to give up your convenience for the environment. So we need to let people know and educate that the menstrual cup actually probably could be more convenient for you. So it is, it is better, full stop, and you also happen to be doing a really good thing for the environment at the same time. So I always say, like, menstrual cups are better for the environment, full stop, and you're doing your bit for the environment. It's not the main selling point. All of the other things are the main selling point. Like how long you can leave it in for, how much money you're going to save, your lower risk of toxic shock. All of those things are what we need to be telling people about. So that was, I think, convenience is one of our major pillars. Empowerment is obviously a big pillar. So a lot of what we're doing, education and empowerment is a lot of what we're doing. So going into schools, workplaces, we're actually, obviously you get a lot of education in schools, and we can start focusing on that now, but all of those people that missed out on that, why don't we still give them some education? So we're actually going into corporate businesses and doing lunch and learn style sessions about the menstrual cup.
Interesting.
They're basically getting their school PSHE lesson on menstrual cups while they eat their lunch. Why not?
And how's that going down? How's that been?
Really good so far. So we've only done a few because we only launched in April. But it's been really positive. It's actually been really interesting. We've had quite a lot of men in the room that are also interested to learn, whether that's to pass on the information to their partners, their daughters. They're just interested to learn. But yeah, people have been really open and interested, and surprisingly really forthcoming with a lot of questions.
Okay. Well, always good.
Yeah. So it's definitely been good, and I'm hoping that we can do more. Because it's generally, personally, it's also been really rewarding for me to go and do that. So that's always nice.
Yeah, I imagine the kind of being there in person and seeing that interaction and seeing people kind of go from at the session of like, I've got no idea what we're talking about, or I don't really get it, or I don't really see the plus side of it, to almost be really emotionally and personally invested to either try it or be like, yeah, I'm a total convert, like I'm there. And also I remember reading as well from the website and looking at obviously at all different products. It sounds like affordability is a big one as well. So you mentioned you're going to save loads of money, but like the product itself,
the upfront cost.
Yeah, it's not something that you look at and go, oh God, I really don't know if I can almost like take a punt and put the money into that, you know?
I think that is a big thing. I think that was another point that we noticed come up a few times in the research, is that I don't want to spend 15 to, I mean, cups range from like 10 to maybe £30 if you look at the market. So we tried really hard to be able to put our cups in a price point that was as affordable as possible. So our cups of £15, which is very much on the lower end of the market, because of that point that we understand that upfront cost is a risk. Even though it's not a huge amount in the long run you're going to save, it does still feel like a risk.
Yeah.
We always pose it to people, like, if you think about how much money you spend on like how much would you say you would normally spend on like pads and tampons a month?
I was just thinking in my head, how much is a box of tampons? I was trying to imagine the supermarket aisle and think about how much is a box.
I couldn't even tell you because I've not bought them for ages.
No. I want to say between £3 and £5.
I think on average you probably spend like £7 a month maybe at a push. Yeah. Even if it's £5. Say spend £5 a month on pads and tampons. You only need to give the menstrual cup a go for 3 months to have made that money back. I would always say it's worth it, but of course I'm going to say that. I can very much see why people are worried to do that. And we are trying to do a lot of work with charities and things like that to help from that point of view. So people that just fundamentally can't afford it, even though it is a long-term solution for them, they might not have the upfront money to spare right there and then, even though it's going to help them in the long run. So we're hoping our new charity scheme is going to sort of help with that.
Amazing. There's so many things going on. It's incredible. I mean, like you say, you are a girl who loves lots of projects, so I shouldn't be surprised, but it's amazing. So there's a lot going on. I really want to talk about like the cup itself and almost like the technology and how it works and things, because I'm not afraid to admit that despite the fact that I literally do this for a living and I am obsessed with women's health and periods and everything that comes with it and all the conditions, I had never tried a menstrual cup. The first time I'd heard about it was at university. One of my best friends, we'd be very open. She just talked about the fact that she used it and it was amazing. I never really asked a huge amount of questions. I was kind of like, okay, cool, like that works for you. That's amazing. And if I'm totally honest, I think the biggest thing with me when I kind of came across you guys and got the chance to use it, I just thought to myself, like, is it gonna stay in place? I think was my biggest thing of like, how do I know if it's A, in the right place, and B, if it's gonna stay there? And like, what if I move, and what if I exercise, or what if like the suction or the kind of like the way it works doesn't work, and then obviously you have leaking and all the rest of it. So I just found it very difficult to imagine it working inside me without me being able to see it, if that makes a huge amount of sense. I was totally wrong, by the way. I absolutely love it. I loved it, and I was like, this is freaking genius. Why did I not do this earlier? But let's talk about how it does actually work. I didn't think that for me and other people is like a big almost brain block.
That is typically the response. It's just like not enough understanding of like fundamentally how it works.
Yeah.
So I mean, quick tutorial.
Let's do it.
Basically, you'll fold it up. There's lots of different folds that you can do if you search them up. there'll be lots of images of like how to do it, but typically the C fold or the punch down fold are the ones that we'd recommend. My personal favourite is the punch down fold.
What does that? I don't. Not everyone can see, but
I
with
did
your
bring
hands.
them with me actually.
Did you actually?
But basically, you hold the cup in one hand and then use the other finger to like punch it down, so that you can then hold it at the bottom so that it's smaller to insert. Basically, you'll pop it in. And then I think the most important thing is that once it's in, it needs to pop open essentially.
Okay.
And that is what's creating the seal.
Okay.
So if the cup hasn't popped open properly, the seal won't be formed, and that's kind of what stops it from leaking.
Yeah.
So it needs to pop open, form a seal, and it needs to be sat below the cervix. So sometimes people, if they're experiencing leaks, they might have almost tried to push the cup up too high and have like tucked it behind the cervix. And if it's behind the cervix, it's definitely not catching the blood.
No, it's not going to do a huge amount, is
anything. So those are the two fundamental things. And you should not be able to feel it once it's in.
Okay.
Strangely, a lot of people that we have spoken to, I always say, like, just like a tampon, you shouldn't be able to feel it when it's in. And the number of people that have said to me, like, oh, but you can feel a tampon when it's in, has honestly shook me, because I'm like, oh, what? Is that not a fundamental thing that you're taught when you first learn how to use tampons, is that you shouldn't be able to feel it?
Oh my God, really? There's that many people?
Yeah, it's quite shocking.
Oh, that just makes me really sad, because that would be so uncomfortable.
They're just walking around being uncomfortable every day.
God.
Yeah.
I mean, my sex at school was woeful. Like, I've talked about it before. It was literally non-existent, especially when it comes to tampons. But obviously, my mum's amazing, and we had that girl chat. So I had really heavy periods at the start, obviously, because of the conditions that I live with. And it very quickly get to a point, especially when you're a teenage girl, where you're like, it's not clean, it feels messy, I just want to use tampons. So we had that whole kind of, my mum gave me all the different sizes, and she was like, right, go into the bathroom, it will take you hours to figure this out, but just like squat down, try different positions, and just like, you'll figure it out, but you're just going to have to experiment a little bit. And I, like, very quickly, you can feel the difference of like when you insert a tampon either correctly or incorrectly, the difference is massive, because you either feel very uncomfortable and you almost like can't sit right, and it's kind of like, I'd kind of describe it as almost like a pressure that's almost going into like your back or your bum, and it kind of feels like something's just not quite right. So I can't believe, oh my God, those poor women that have been walking around constantly feeling that.
Yeah, and it's actually really interesting how you've just described that first experience of using a tampon, because I think what a lot of people, most people won't get using a menstrual cup right first time. It is a little bit of a learning process, a little bit of like practice, whatever. And I think because typically the age range that we speak to, it's maybe they've been having periods for 10 years at this point. They've completely forgotten about that experience where actually using a tampon was also a little bit of trial and error.
Yes.
And as anything new, it is going to be a little bit of trial and error, and you have to kind of give it a chance. So yes, you shouldn't be able to feel it once it's in.
Yeah.
Obviously, cups have stems, variety of stems. We always say that if you can feel it, especially if you're sat down, people will say that I can't feel the cup, but I can feel the stem like poking me. Cut it off with a pair of scissors.
Simple.
Let it go. I have to do that on all my cups. None of my cups have stems. They all get chopped off. That's the first thing I do if I get any cup. The stem gets cut off. I already know that I'm going to be able to feel it. So I just do that.
Okay.
And that's part of, again, the trial and error experimentation process, is working out what edits, basically, you might need to make to your cup.
Yeah.
And that's sort of it, really. You wait your 12 hours. A lot of people are quite apprehensive when I say 12 hours. They say, oh, there's no way that I would ever be able to leave it in. And I think just seeing blood on a tampon or a pad, it looks like a lot. But it really isn't as much as you think it's going to be. As I said, I went from changing a tampon every 2 hours to being able to leave a cup in for 12 hours.
Yeah.
They can typically, most cups hold 3 to 4 times more than your average tampon. So you are going to be able to leave it in longer. And again, part of the trial and error, maybe take it out after 6. You will literally be able to see how full it is and gauge whether you think you could leave it in for longer.
Yeah, and you can
part of the process.
You can experiment with it, right? Like, get to know how it feels for you and your body. And do you know, it almost makes me think, actually, it might be a really good education piece, just the fact of taking it out after different amounts of hours. So you can actually understand, like, how much is your normal, quotation marks, amount of bleeding? Like, what does normal look like to you? Because every woman is a little bit different.
Yeah. The other thing that I would say is, like, with pads and tampons is, as you go through that like phase, you can really only use a tampon when you're bleeding, because we've all been there. We've put tampon in. You either not started or you're not sure if you quite finished, and you just put one in just in case.
Yes.
And then you're pulling that out, and it's dry and it hurts, and it's the worst feeling ever.
Yeah, it's not enjoyable.
With cups, because the purpose of a cup is to collect blood rather than absorb it, it is not absorbing your body's natural moisture. So when you pull it out, if it's empty, it's empty. So putting a cup in and out is going to feel exactly the same on your period as it is any other day. So we also say you can experiment with putting the cup in and taking it out on days that you're not on your period. If you're worried about it being messy, give it a little practice when you're not.
That leads me on to another question. So I always say on here, there's no such thing as TMI, because we're like, I'm so glad you're on the same page.
I've heard it all.
But also, like, when we're talking about these things, because so many things are taboo, so many things are not spoken about, it doesn't do us any favors, does it? So as soon as we're having this conversation, because that leads me to thinking about the material of it, because obviously it's medical grade silicone, if I'm correct in thinking. So that material in itself, I was really surprised about how squishy it is, and how literally, like you say, when you do the different pinches, it just moves and it's so soft. And also, not afraid to admit it, that when you see the cup itself, even like there's different sizes, but even the smaller one that I tried, even when you see the cup itself, before you pinch it, or depending on how you pinch it, there is a part of you that goes like,
where's that going?
Am I going to be able to insert that? Like, is that going to fit?
Yeah.
Like, is that even possible? But again, that's probably just another block for a lot of people. I did have to give myself a talking to, and not to flatter men too much, but I was thinking, like, girl, the way that like reproduction works and sex works, this is tiny in comparison.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be absolutely fine. But it's a thought process that probably a lot of people have of like, how am I going to insert that?
Yeah, I think unless you have a condition like vaginismus and things like that, there isn't really too many reasons why you shouldn't be able to get a cup in. You're folding up to a smaller size. Your vagina is a muscle. It expands. Like, as you've said, if a penis can go in there and if a baby can come out, that little menstrual cup she's fine.
Also very true. Yeah, very true.
So yeah, that is the reality of it. But I do understand that, looking at it is daunting. And I think definitely when I was first exploring, it probably took me a year of like first hearing what a menstrual cup was to like researching what it was before I actually decided to like make the jump. Because I understand that it can look daunting, but I'm hoping that with like all of the like educational bits that we're doing, we can kind of help to overcome that a little bit.
Yeah, I would say the booklet that comes with it is the most helpful thing.
I designed it myself.
Obviously, of course you did. You should have known. But yeah, I think the visual images because I think obviously when we say, and someone's just audio listening, when we say like this pinch or this pinch, you're going to be like, I have no idea what that means. But to be able to look at the booklet and be like, oh, okay, so you hold it like this and you fold it like that, like it makes a lot more sense when you can actually look at something and follow it. Yeah,
definitely. We've got lots of photos on the website, and on our social media, we quite often do videos about like different folds and how they work. Because I definitely agree. I think you need to be able to see it to believe it type thing.
Definitely. Speaking of social media, what has the reaction been like? Because I know when I've been doing content, and I haven't got like, it's very different in some ways. It's more talking videos. I haven't got a product where you have to use like fake blood, or you want to demonstrate a used sanitary towel or a tampon or a cup being filled up or whatever. And social media hates women's health. It bans and shadow bans everything. So I'd love to know, what's the reaction been like for you guys and putting content out there?
Mixed.
Okay.
Very, very mixed. Really interestingly, I think 2 weeks ago, we had a series of videos all get several millions of views. And very much not with the audience we wanted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a lot of like, I'm in enemy territory.
You got pushed out almost to like the wrong algorithm.
Yeah, and because the people that don't want to see it comment on it, so then it's like you're creating this problem. The reason you keep seeing this content is because you're commenting on it. And it's kind of made me laugh. Like, I'm very much, if I don't laugh, I'll cry. But like it's like a Barbie reaction meme and a Bratz reaction was like freeze stills from like the movie where it's just like some horrified face, and you can comment photos now.
Oh my god, can you comment photos?
It's just the comment section just filled with people with this photo with the like face. And I'm just like, it is funny, but also I hate it.
Oh, for God's sake. So are we talking about a mainly male audience? Or is it just more demographics?
It is just I think, generally speaking, not even just on social media, we've done freshers fairs and stuff as well. So we speak to a lot of people. I'm always very shocked at how many women have a negative reaction to what you're doing or go like, I'm like, girl, grow up.
Really?
Yeah, it's shocking.
So there are women commenting, almost being like, I shouldn't be seeing this, you shouldn't be posting that, like that's inappropriate, or like whatever.
It's never like to the point as that. Okay. It's always just like a horrified face, or I'm in enemy territory, or I'll stick to pads, thanks. That's probably the top comment.
Right, okay.
If it ends up in the wrong audience, I'll stick to pads, thanks is like the top comment that we get. And I'm just like, I could change your life. Think about it.
So interesting.
So yeah, it's mixed, but then you also get a lot of people that are very much like, no, honestly, girl, like try this, it will change your life. You get the people that have already made that switch to cups and are like advocating for it in the comments. And I always say I'm never scared of a fight in the comments. I always think if you want to fight in my comments on social media, please do, because typically it's like selfishly it's going to help the video reach more people.
That's what I say, no such thing as bad press.
Yeah. And it's also always just a really interesting conversation, like to look at what people are saying, the argument from both sides, to understand people's thoughts and mentality, I find really interesting. Yeah. And it normally helps us come up with ideas of like more content. Like if everyone's commenting the same sort of negative thing, I'm like, great, I can make a video about this to explain why that's not true.
Yeah. And the best way to use it, right? You might as well use it as an informative tool to understand your audience, the captured audience and the non-captured audience, to get to know them better. Yeah. That is so interesting though. I find like, I'd love to like, if you could get someone to really delve into almost the psychology of it, of, I guess, lack of education and just lack of exposure to that world, that option. It creates fear. Like we're scared of what we don't understand, and we're scared of what we don't know, which is a very, very human reaction. But like I say, it's a shame if it prevents someone from trying something that could really, really help them.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so as we come towards the end of the conversation, this has been amazing. I feel like I've had like the front seat journey to the whole like
We've been all over the place.
I know, we've been literally everywhere. I would really love to know what you are looking forward to in the future, like future for yourself, for the company. Obviously, we've got lots of strands about the charity element, the education element, the product element. I'd just love to know what you're thinking.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're still really new. I think actually this week is our 6-month birthday.
Oh, congratulations. Happy birthday.
So we've obviously done a lot in the first 6 months. So looking forward to sort of it all settling and everything we put in place really starting to take shape. We might look to do more cups. So obviously we have a range of 5 different cups, which is quite unique. And we have our fun little quiz that everyone can take that will tell them which one. So we might look to add maybe more cups to that range to give more options, different sizes. Obviously the cups we have, we could do them in different sizes as well. And then I think the big thing for me is probably the corporate education piece, is how can we go into more large companies and educate their workforce? And lots of companies offer free pads and tampons in their bathrooms now, which is amazing. But why are they not also offering a sustainable alternative? And I always say, I think I'll use the university as a really good point. Universities must spend so much money on supplying pads and tampons in bathrooms across campus. Yeah. And obviously this doesn't work for everyone, but if the university provided you on day one of starting university with a menstrual cup, that student is then set with menstrual care for the entire time at university. Yeah. So from giving students a wider range of choice of what products they want to use is great. You're also going to save money, right? Like, it is a business. Universities are a business, essentially. They want to save money. Here is a really fantastic way for you to do it, help your students, and be better for the environment all at the same time. Yeah. I think that sort of opportunity is really quite rare. So, like, I just think companies should be absolutely jumping at the opportunity, and I don't
Biting
understand
your
why they're
hand
not.
off.
Yeah. So I think I'm excited to step into like that remit, because I do love going into companies, schools, wherever it is that we're doing, and talking to people about it, because I do think as soon as you start explaining it to them, the reaction typically is really like, oh my, this is amazing. I didn't even know half of this stuff. And I'm like, yes, and that's why I'm here telling it to you, and I'm glad that you've listened. And yeah.
It's literally why you exist, right?
Yeah.
It's literally your mission on this earth now. It's what you'll be doing.
Yeah. Yeah, talking about periods is so normal to me now. I'm like, truly no question is too TMI. I have heard it all.
Literally, yeah, I forget when I meet strangers now, or just talking to like acquaintances or distant family or friends, they're like, oh, what are you up to? And it's just like full pout, no filter, and just their faces are like, oh, right, okay. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forget, you're not in my world, are you? This isn't normal for you.
No, my house is full of menstrual cups, and my boyfriend's just used to it now. They're everywhere, and he's just like, oh, another one.
Yeah, moment of appreciation for the boyfriends of women that are obsessed with women's health and periods, because they just have to acclimatise, don't they?
Yeah, he packed the first year that we did Eleria, we did some sample cups for our first Freshers' Fairs. They weren't the official ones that we have now. He packed the first 100 units. Aww. I was away at some event and it needed to be done like that day. So he sat and he packed menstrual cups into their boxes with the little bags and the leaflets himself. That's how like normalised it is for him now.
What a guy. What a guy. Love that. That's what we need, right? But it's, you know, as much as it's a female, it's a menstrual health, it's a women's issue, it's also a men's issue, because we literally go together, we spend our lives together, we have family, friends, colleagues, we're constantly with each other. So it's an everyone issue, right?
Yes, definitely. And I think if we treat it like it's an everyone issue and we talk about it openly and like it's a normal thing, the more people that will just accept that it is. I think the more that we act like it's some secret taboo thing, the more that people are just going to continue to treat it like that. Yeah,
definitely. If you had one final piece of a statement, advice, whatever you'd like to say when it comes to cups, you've said some absolutely amazing things already, but there's like one headline thing you just want to remind people listening when it comes to cups, what would it be?
It's just give it a go. Like, really, what have you got to lose? Even if you use it for one period, you've lost, maybe a tenner. A tenner on something that could potentially transform a week of your life every single month. I think that's always worth a try. Amazing. Kira, you've been amazing. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to have you on. I mean, what I've learned about menstrual cups is amazing, and it was just so interesting to hear the background of the business, and just wish you all the very best in the future, because I think what you're doing is fab. Thank you so much. I loved our girl chat this week. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, then don't forget to hit the follow button wherever you're listening. To find out more about us or today's guest, then head to the show notes. Until next time, I'm Alexandra, and remember, it's not just a period.